Arizona.
That's all
That's
right.
where I'm at, Megan. So we might be right down the street from each other, which is pretty cool. But awesome. While everyone is joining and letting us know where you're from, again, I'll just reiterate, you have joined the webinar for Mastering Breeze Basics. We're going to be going over some really helpful stuff to make sure that your communication, your volunteer scheduling, and your events are super streamlined. So I'll go ahead and hop into the main content. But before we do that, I do want to highlight, of course, that running a church, managing a church can be very complicated, and we understand that. And so really, Tithely and Breeze attacks these webinars, all of the content that we give you, with a couple things in mind, three things mainly. That our goal is just to simply serve you so that you can serve your church. And so that includes no extra steps, no unanswered questions, and no hidden cost. We want this to be simple for you and that you feel confident managing your church well. As well, we do like to make shout outs to a couple products every so often, kind of give them a spotlight for a moment. And so, those of you who may be joining us that are only aware maybe that you're using Breeze, but not aware that we have a whole other set of products available to you. Two that we want to give a shout out to today is our custom church app and our custom website. These are subscriptions that you can have on top of your Breeze subscription that just give you additional tools to better manage your organization, manage your church. And so if that's something you're interested in, please reach out to our support team. The best way to do that is via the chat bubble in the right-hand side of your account, and they'd be more than happy to give you additional information about those two products. And additionally, to those of you who do not already have access to our all access package, that's going to be our package that includes Breeze, Tithely, our website, our app that I just mentioned, and it's already, to be honest, at a really great price of $119 a month. But if you don't already have it, go ahead and pull out your phone and scan the QR code on the screen. That will get you 3 months of all access at $99, which is, like, guys, it's an incredible deal. It's you get so much for that cost. So highly recommend, if you don't already have it, to go ahead and scan that QR code, and I will put it up at the end if you don't catch it right now. But before we jump into introductions, I do want to highlight, obviously, if you want to chat with us and communicate in that chat section, please do that. But if you have any specific questions regarding what we're covering today, we will have a Q&A section at the end of this webinar to allow you to ask those questions. And again, those are specific to what we're covering today. So if you do have those questions, there should be a Q&A button on the right-hand side of your screen. Maybe for you guys, it's at the bottom, but drop those questions into the Q&A channel. Now, with all of that, we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves. So, of course, my name is Mariah. I'm a part of our education team here at Tithely, and I've been with Tithely for about 3 years now in March, and I started in our support team and kind of worked my way through success and now ended up here in education. So any of that training content that you see, like our webinars or our help articles, that's all a part of the stuff that I do in education. So just honored, excited to be with you guys. I'm a pastor's kid, so I feel very strongly about making your guys' life easier and managing your church well. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. But Les, you want to give an introduction about yourself?
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out real quick. Mariah, you and the education team are doing such a great job right now with putting out content, making sure that help articles are out there and well, helping out. So thank you for all the work that you do. And as Mariah is mentioning here, I am also, I'm a senior advocate where basically I am trying to help out with some of those more pesky issues. We might be communicating with you and engineering at the same time, depending on if there's some more troubles that take a little bit longer to communicate on to get an answer. But I started in Breeze when I first got started. I'm repping some old Breeze gear today. I had to. And I love this platform and how it's able to help out. So great to be here with y'all today.
Yeah, awesome. We're so excited to have you, Les. Also, want to shout out, I did see in the chat, and Les already mentioned it, but I see some people having some audio issues. So I see already a couple people mentioning, if you hover your cursor over the presentation, there's a volume button, and you should be able to unmute us. So just highlighting, I think it's Tiffany was the most recent person to say that. So if you're having issues with audio, can't hear us do that. But yeah, super excited to have Les here with us today. He's going to be taking kind of the main content of what we're covering. So we'll go ahead and hop into those slides. But as mentioned, keep chatting in the chat channel and dropping those questions in the Q&A, and we'll be managing those. So yeah, looking forward to it. I'll pass it over to you, Les.
Thank you, Brian. All right, so what I like to do with these is I feel like it would be super dry if I'm just talking at you the whole time. So what I really like to do is make these more interactive. So we'll spend a little bit of time here in slides. I'll just talk about something we're about to cover, and then I'll bounce over to my little demo environment where I'll be clicking around. So even if you're only on one monitor, if you are unable to click alongside with us, you can at least see it in action. I think that just always helps with learning. That's at least me. But enough of that rambling from me. I'll hop in here. What we're getting started with first here is we're thinking from the perspective of we just had tax statement season, which of course can be its own challenges that come alongside it. But it's been a really busy season. So how can we thoughtfully communicate both from our point of view as the admins, but also communicate well with members as we get further into 2026? And with that, we're going to first get started looking at communications. I put email and texting 202 because I imagine a lot of you who are tuning in are already more super users in the platform. But don't be alarmed if you are more entry level, you're still getting familiar with Breeze. Say if you came over from Tithely products and got into Breeze that way. Totally fair and okay. I'm going to try to make this something where even if it's your first day, you can gain some good nuggets from. But if it's your 1000th day, maybe you can also learn some things along the way as well. So what we're going to look at first is the difference between beta and legacy views. You can see kind of the screenshot behind me. We are in people beta right now, and now I'm just going to take over. When we go over to people, we'll have this little button up here for exit beta. I personally just recommend using beta at this point. That's for different functionality that's involved, but also just that's the part of the platform that I've gotten familiar with the most on my own. Ultimately, it's up to you, but beta is personally what I recommend. And if you are in legacy, you would know that because this would be more of your view, just a little bit different UI. So we'll get a little message that says, hey, this is under construction. Basically, there's more features that are constantly being added into the beta area. All right, so what we're going to look at first is filtering. Now, I want to bring this up because we can send emails from tags. I know that's a great way of being able to segment certain areas of people. But the problem with just emailing from a tag is we're only emailing to, say, a few people at a time. You might have communications you want to send to not everyone in your congregation or your nonprofit, but maybe you want to send to multiple different tags at one time. You also don't want to just constantly be emailing, copying and pasting everything you put here. Now we go to another tag, and oh no, I copy and pasted a merge field. Now when I do that, it doesn't give the message I want to. It just gets complicated. Instead, the remedy for that, what I recommend is going to filters, scrolling all the way down to additional. We can actually combine tags in our communications. So in this case, if I take someone from the percussion tag, and I don't know if there's any baseball fans out there, I'm just chomping at the bit. It's spring training. I'm very excited. So I've got the Baseball Brothers tag. If you just noticed, it took 2 people in a tag, and it took what is another, well, in that case, got 11 people. So we have 1 person that is overlapping in those tags. It makes 12. It just really streamlines communication. As mentioned too, there was 1 person who overlapped in this tag, so don't worry, someone's not going to get double hit with an email communication. But from there, you can just select all email. This is where we need to decide how robust of an email this is going to look like. One of the kind of 202 advanced feature I want to look at here, we'll just click into this one. is using mail merge fields within design templates. I actually got a question on this the other day from a ministry who's been using Breeze for a long time, fairly large, and mentioned within HTML, we have found that you can actually use HTML mail merge fields as well. So you might already be familiar. A mail merge field, what this is going to do, say if you want to address someone by name here, you could just click in mail merge, first name. It just makes it a little bit more of a friendly situation, saying hello to a member instead of just hello all. But why it's helpful from an HTML standpoint is it's just going to give you a little bit more freedom in how you're creating this design email. Design emails themselves already give you a lot of different options in adding images, so on as what you see on your right hand side, especially when you're able to communicate to certain different tags all at one time. But it's the ability to use mail merges within the HTML as well, which is really helpful and something that was at least a new unlock for one admin this week. So figured I'd share that here. But we can also, of course, send for later. We can schedule these out if we want to click on the time. You can see different options that we have available. Another thing that's worth mentioning, this is more the logistics side, and I'm coming at this from maybe more routine questions that we get that might be escalated up, especially busy times of year, or even just busy times of week. You might think a lot of groups end up meeting on Wednesday nights. We have a Breeze queue that is sending out emails for many different ministries, congregations at one time. So you might schedule an email to go out. Say, let's go in and schedule it for 4:15. There are instances where that might not immediately send at 4:15, and instead it starts to go through the queue at about that time. So I would just say if you come to a point where there is any kind of worries on, hey, did my email go out? It's been 15 minutes. I'm not seeing it. It might just be in the queue, taking a little bit extra long to go out. But uh, that send later feature can be pretty helpful if you're trying to get ahead of your week's tasks. So that's just a little bit on emailing. If we want to switch gears here, though, and look at texting, uh, you might look at these blue dots and go, what are we looking at here? Those blue dots are going to look at someone who is ready to receive a message. You might have some people who don't have cell phone numbers, and that, well, we would need to collect that before sending, obviously. But those blue are going to highlight someone who would be ready to receive. I'm going to try to find if I can get someone pulled up who would not be ready to receive. Trying to do it on the fly here. Well, what we're seeing here on the right is what I'm trying to find here. Okay, there's a message block, but here someone's already opted in to receive text messages. That's why we have the blue block whenever we're pulling up multiple different people at one time. So go to text. Uh, these people are ready to receive those text messages. And from here, we can also, whether it's sending now, whether it's finding times, or we can send those out as well. That is up to you. All right, so that's both a little bit of tips and tricks, whether it's like filtering, whether it is actually um, sending out like design emails, a little bit more detailed or a little bit more basic when it comes to your design or not your design emails, just the basic way, or even text messaging. But let's go and hop back over into the slides now. All right. So next, I want to talk about events. We're going to look at events from both single events, recurring events, also warning signs that can come with those recurring events. Uh, you can kind of see in the background right now, I have one pulled up for us. I just wanted to keep that warning sign up, and I can highlight this a little further on the demo as well. Anytime we have a recurring event in which we are changing a future time for this, that can cause some inadvertent data loss. And I never want that for ministry. So I always want to highlight this. if we are choosing to change the time, essentially Breeze is treating that as a whole nother different event instance. Uh, so let's take this out of theory and let's just put some examples behind it. Let's say you have a Bible study event on a Thursday. It's been a recurring series at 6 p.m. If you're to change this to say Wednesday at at the same 6 p.m., but change it to Wednesday instead, it's basically going to see this as a whole nother event outside of what has previously been happening. That's going to inadvertently lead to some attendance loss, could lead to volunteer data loss as well. Just not fun, not good. So it's always good in those situations if you are changing the date and time for something. I would just recommend to create a whole brand new event. And that would, again, to preserve the data. Or you could even go ahead and export some of that data ahead of time. Now, I think it would just be easier to show this off. So I'll go into my Breeze platform now, go to the events area. And we could give this example here if I have Bible study. So in this situation, I already have some roles laid out. I don't have any volunteers in this role because I just kind of wanted to give a version of this live. So in this situation, I'm just going to search and add. We have one person. Let's go ahead and add another. Great. I don't have any attendance in this, but the same rule applies here. What we're going to do is we just want to pull this up. Whenever we change any part of the schedule, that's where we're going to get that remove data and change time warning that pops up. Now, I did see a question in the chat about duplicating events. Personally, I would not recommend trying to change any of the start times, end times there. But you could see even just trying to duplicate, there's really not a setting that would allow us to do that. So you could just go into the same area we were, say if you wanted to go to settings, and then just copy, essentially have all of this information down. It might make sense if you're using locations, descriptions, if there's only specific tags that are involved in a certain group, then it would make sense to create that event from scratch as from here, unable to do that duplicate. But in this way, uh, I would just recommend creating a new one in order to, again, preserve the old data. Now, something else, let's go to check-in. Right now, for people using the iOS check-in app, one thing to be aware of, if you are running on iOS 26 or up, check-in is possibly going to have a bug attached to it. When I say bug, you might be like, what is that? A bug is an unexpected behavior. It's basically the platform acting how we do not want it to. So if you are launching check-in from an iOS 26 device, this would be on, say, your iPhone, it would not be working to the point that we want it to. That's where we can come in. We can help out on the senior advocate level side. So if you're on your mobile and trying this, you might be running into that issue. Otherwise, though, as you can see pulled up right now, this is that same Bible study group that I've just been in. I mentioned John's group. And this is checking in only John's group from the specific tags. This can help just in data overload. If you are checking in, I'm thinking it's a Sunday morning, there are 100 people in the lobby, there's conversation happening back and forth. Say if we're checking in for children's ministry, it's already wild as is, as you know. Instead of having, say, everyone listed and you're scrolling through your whole big list, I might recommend just having specific tags. In this case, for what I have called as John's group, we can go into that tag actually and see how many people are in this. Might have been, there we go. In this case, we've got 5. You can see the 5 pull up here as well. At that point, it'd be easy just to click into their name, check them off. Hey, Ricky is all checked in. In this specifically, All right, if we go to mode, we'd also be able to change this to kiosk mode, search mode. You can have all people involved if you would wish. I just personally find whenever volunteering that list mode and having specific names going down the list is the best possible way to have that. And that might change or be different depending on what the needs of your ministry are, of course. All right. So we've already touched at tags. We can communicate with multiple tags at one time through people. Tags are also helpful in check-in. So also just to look, uh, we can group tags within folders. I don't think this is something I specifically called out within the actual screenshot within the webinar, but I think it's helpful to point out anyway that this just makes it easy for viewing. Say for your groups to be able to find all of them at one time. Maybe you don't though, or maybe you have folders nestled within folders as well. That ultimately is up to you. But I find that tags make communication easy, both from a people perspective, events perspective, and just help with on a day to day, making sure that you can save some time from the admin side. All right, I'm going to hop back into slides here, see if I missed anything. Talked about checking in faster. Okay. Didn't show how to create a single or recurring event. With that, actually, I might link a help article. We could do that just in the effort of time. Again, wanting to make this as helpful for all people as possible. But when it comes to creating a single event, I could show that as well, actually, too. I'll just go ahead and do that. So you would just click add event up there. You could fill out name as you see fit, of course, repeating the event. If you were to create a brand new series, as we had mentioned earlier, you could even post this onto different calendars as on the left side. If you see that green main checkbox, that is default on all accounts. Additional calendars can be used as well, especially, I mean, in this test environment, not many events, but you can imagine how many things are going on a given week at your ministry. Might be helpful, again, from the admin's view. Let's just make sure we only have a single, maybe type of event or where the events are located to be visible at one time is always helpful too. But yeah, we can link a help article as well just to see a little bit more there. And then I'll just keep moving on here in the meantime. All right. So looking now, volunteer scheduling, there's a couple different modes when it comes to this. You could either assign volunteers, you could invite volunteers as well, just to showcase their availability depending on uh, what type of event is happening. Also, just think about, I mean, it's already coming up on spring. Summer, of course, have people coming in and out depending on time of week. So I feel like the invite mode is what I end up defaulting to the most, but ultimately is up to whatever, again, whatever your preference is as an admin, whatever helps you with keeping track of information. But from within that, what I find along this line of communication. Again, this webinar is designed to make communication more efficient, easier on you as the admin, how to find people quickly and get them what they need. So I find that built-in reminders on specific volunteer roles can be incredibly helpful. Not to call anyone out, this is just in the parts of our own heart. We need to also check the log in our own eyes. But of course, there are some volunteers who might need a little bit more tender love and care when it comes to reaching out about reminders on them volunteering, making sure that we're in the right place at the right time. And with Breeze, we're able to make those specific modifications to make sure that someone has the reminders that they need to make sure they will be there when they're supposed to be there. So I'll specifically look at that, and you can kind of get a view of it behind me. We have both the ability to assign those roles, but then also to customize when reminders are going out. And then I'll also get into some follow-ups and tag cases that can help as well. But let me go hop back into the demo environment here. Apologies, feel like I'm doing a little whiplash at times for you going from one to the next. But we're going to keep staying. I'm just going to stay in this Bible study. I already have some volunteers there. I had just added Teddy and Frodo earlier. You can see Teddy, he might need a little more of that tender love and care I was mentioning. Volunteers will receive 2 reminders. You can even send out a third if you need to. And this is the default. We have 3, 6, and 12 days before the event, but you can even change this. The timing here, as you can see, let's say this has been a pretty something that was put together pretty quickly, last minute. But we want to serve the community. We want to get this out there. You can send out 3 days in a row if you really want to. First reminder is today, second is the next, so on. You can also have these a little bit more formulaic. Maybe if you put one out 21 days, the next one goes out 14, 7, you get the idea. You could also customize that message to see what you want it to be. Again, we have these mail merge fields. Not something I believe I brought up earlier, but I'd be remiss if I did not. These mail merge fields are specifically coded. Like for you and I, we just see this as, I mean, I don't even know what the official name for this is. Bracket, all capitals, first name, bracket. On the back end, there's some code that allows someone named Frodo or Teddy to actually see hi Frodo, hi Teddy. So from the admin perspective, it is very important not to copy and paste these. If we were to copy, paste, cut any of those keyboard shortcuts, we would be missing out on the code that goes behind what we see here. So if you accidentally just do this, I lost first name, I don't know what to do. It's all good. You just go mail merge first name. You can still type before and after, totally okay. Just know that we are not able to copy and paste. So with that, you can also add attachments. Of course, you can see these. We need to be able to volunteer, or we need to be able to RSVP in order to know the volunteer is coming. So it would make sense to have that checkbox enabled, I'd say, pretty much at all times. But then this is kind of a helpful little checkbox as well. If you have some people who are more involved on SMS, on their mobile devices, as opposed to just sending it out via email. And of course, if we do not want to pester someone, if we already have the RSVP, they are good to go. They know what's going on. They've always been showing up on time. We could also possibly send this one, but life is busy. I always find it helpful just to get RSVP reminders anyway, but that's me. So that's a little helpful bit on volunteer reminders. And again, just how we can change the variance and level those are coming in depending on the role it is that one is assigned. And then I'm going to actually peek at the slides again here. I want to see what else would be good to mention in this spot. All right, looking. Yeah, I already talked about the extra follow-ups for certain volunteers, those built-in reminders. Oh, you know what? Let's just walk into assign and invite modes. That's kind of been what I've been doing so far in this webinar. Talk about more of the nitty-gritty sometimes and get a little too excited and carried away. Not talking about the upfront. To go and change your mode. Let's say you already have an event you want to make adjustments to. You can switch to invite mode. You can switch to assign mode for how you are bringing volunteers into an event. That is not going to change the attendance tracking. That's not going to change your volunteers in that warning I mentioned to you earlier. Because as you can see, Teddy and Frodo are still listed here, even though I just changed a couple times that assign and invite mode. And actually, I really think that our video here is going to be the best resource for you and just showing what those differences are between assign and invite mode, just to hear straight from the help articles. But from what you see right here, currently being in invite mode, from the admin's perspective, we're just going to be able to add some volunteers, ask them, hey, are you able to make it for this assign mode? of course, we're more assigning and saying, hey, we are putting you down for this. You can also rotate as needed for volunteers. But just in the sake of time, I'm going to move on here and we can keep talking about more of what I'm really excited about. And that's turning first time guests into connected members. It's uh, the theme here is building connection. It's making sure people, when they first walk in to when they walk out, it's if it's their first time, their 10th time, and so on, they have community, they have connection, and they are feeling part of the community. So this is how we can help people just get that immediately from their first time coming in. If we assign follow-ups to different members of our staff, maybe you're a one-person show admin. This can help be like a to-do list of sorts. Not that we ever want to make people feel like they're a checklist item. This is the entire opposite of that. This helps you be more accountable. Just even transitioning off of the idea of software for a minute and just thinking about it in our personal lives. I mean, I want to be as intentional and communicative with both my partner, with my friends, with people I love and care about. And sometimes I find that honestly, a calendar reminder really helps me do that. Uh, it doesn't take away from the intentionality of the moment. It's just I want to make sure I send a birthday card. And sometimes I need a checklist to be able to do that. So I think of follow ups and automations in that same capacity. If we can create thoughtful follow-ups for whether it's someone who's interested in baptism, someone who's interested in becoming a new member, we could even assign more of follow-up tasks to other people if we do have more staff or volunteers who are helping us in that. This can be a really powerful part of Breeze, but I feel like this is something I specifically want to talk about because it can go unused or underutilized compared to a lot of areas I see in the platform. So again, I love rambling at you, but I'll go ahead and I'll go back into Breeze and I'm going to hop into follow-ups just to show you what I mean by this. All right, so I'm in follow-ups right now. This is the assigned to me section, and hey, everyone loves a checked off to-do list. In this case, no follow-ups are found. We don't have any assigned, but let's change that. Let's assign one. All right, so this one is going to put it under Leslie's name. And we're going to follow up on baptism. This is really helpful. Again, if you're working in a department with many people, you can add a note here like, hey, uh, talked with Leslie on um, February 24th about becoming baptized, and she wants to learn more. This is exactly what the person who is receiving the follow up is going to see as well. In this case as well, a little bit harder to see. I'm gonna actually zoom in here. I'm not sure if it's doing that on the screen, but you can see it's assigning and then to a person's name that's in gray. You can change this. This is going to be the admins on your account. I am a one man show in this test environment. I've got myself and then I've got my little less sand duplicate. So it would just go to myself anyway. But you get the idea. If you have multiple admins, you can assign this to Betty, to Jane, to Joe, anyone who's in the office with you. And even if you check off of it, like you just saw, it's going to be smart enough to remember that it is still there. So that's always helpful. You can even change the assign on date. Like, let's say that we have someone who's out sick in the office. We know that we should not assign them something. They're clearly not going to get done in the appropriate amount of time. So when they're back in next week, and then that follow up due date has changed as well, you could conversely just change it there if you wished. In this case, though, we are assigning. There we go. All right. So that just assigned. I just noticed I did not set the date for today, actually. So no follow-ups found. I'll just create another one real quick. Been picking on Frodo. I will not leave any notes. I'll just put that there. Being this is due, it should be the third. All right. Let's just go to the All Assignments tab. There we go. So we've got both Leslie, that one you can see that's in italics. That's just being that it is not yet something that is currently like on the radar, if you will. That's a checklist item. It's to come in time, but it's not immediate. And then we have one that this is currently part of the to-dos. Now from here, we can download these. We can change to see who these are assigned by, who they're assigned to in the office. And also if you just go to your area, it's assigned by me. I'm seeing now I'm actually coming in as support. That's the reason why I'm not seeing it here. But in the case you have any follow-ups that are assigned to you, you would see that right here in a space, be able to check those off. The all assignments is really just to help either accountability for each other or just to help within the office. Make sure there's clear visual on which assignments are coming most due and maybe we need help communicating on. But when we go to options, we have the ability to change the defaults here. So when it comes to baptism, we have the description here, interested in information about being baptized. You could get the idea of how this works. We could have one option that's getting involved with different volunteer organizations in the community. You could change that description to let's make sure they're getting involved. Let's make sure that they are becoming aware of different organizations. And we're able to change that time to completion as well, which can go all the way up to 90 days. That's where we can stack follow-ups on top of each other. So you probably get the idea of how this is. I feel like this is a good breeze through, well, breeze, kind of a pun on that, but kind of a good breeze through on how to use the follow-up feature to maybe your introductory level. But now where it gets really fascinating is when we go to automations. If we change the days to completion, just say a little bit longer. Let's say it's I'm interested in getting involved with the church. Maybe there's a 40-day follow-up that's uh, hey, this is when our next Connect class is. This is coming, it's after Easter. We're not going to have a Connect class for a while, but I want to make sure that we get back in touch with so and so. Going to automations can really help with just streamlining communication with that person. So in this case, if we add a task, this could either be we're putting people within a tag. So let's filter down. You could have a profile field that basically asks if someone is interested. If they're interested in becoming part of the community, part of the congregation, let's just say in this case, just going to act like that's not a baseball fan. If they are interested in becoming, I mean, in that case, maybe they're interested in going to a game together, interested in both being part of the ministry and going to a game. We could put them in a specific tag to make sure we're reaching out on a regular basis. It could also remove people if they do not meet that criteria as well. And then, of course, we do have this school grade automatic promotion on June 15th. We cannot turn this one off. That is just a system default too. Now I'm going to go back to the slides. Just want to make sure I'm touching everything that I had written down. All right. I'll come back in here. Do want to talk more as well. The follow-up progression. That is more of whenever we follow up with one of those tasks that's completed, we could then move into another follow-up that could be assigned. So this could be utilizing that 40 days after feature that I had mentioned as well, or any of the days that make sense. But you could stack your follow-ups to essentially have a follow-up train of, hey, we completed a single follow-up task. The next one is automatically assigned. It becomes that way of authentically and with intention reaching out to people, but also without that becoming something that's too hard to keep up with. And with that, I feel like that is in a good spot for now. I know we want to hit some Q&A as well, and depending on how much there are, I feel like it would make sense to more transition into that.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Wes. Or Les, that was so good. So much information for us to learn from. I know after I do these, I feel like I talked for forever, and I was like, I don't know if any of that stuff was retained, but I retained it all. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Well, you're just a pro, Mariah. Yeah,
Well,
that
not
makes sense.
yeah. Well, okay, awesome. I'm glad you mentioned this because there are a ton of questions. So, Les, I think what would make the most sense is if you go back into Wistia and take a look at the Q&A channel with me.
Yeah,
Both of us can kind of scroll through and choose what makes the most sense to address as a group. Um, I will start with one that I think is easy and you might be able to show us pretty quickly. I saw a couple questions about integrating your Breeze events like calendar with your website. Are you able to show us quickly how to do that?
yeah. Here, I'll hop back into Breeze. All right. So let's say you have your events calendar. You want to put this somewhere external. I would just recommend the calendar integration. From here, we have some pretty simple steps of you could bring into Breeze. I know in this case we want on a site. So this is just a standard iCal. We could put this either on your site, you're embedding it, but this is going to be your URL that's really helpful. You could just put this right into, say, your Google Calendar, and just adding that as a calendar would be able to get you there.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's hop back. Let me take a look. There's so many questions that I want to make sure we choose. Some of them are very similar, so I want to make sure we choose appropriately the correct questions to address. Let's see. I see a couple people that have just general questions about the volunteer inviting. Are you able to show us just the basics? You can even just show the beginning of it. How do you invite volunteers?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I know that was an area oh, yep, got my audio. There we are.
Yeah, you're good.
Uh, yeah, I know that was an area I kind of hopped around earlier. So in this case, I'll just go to a fresh new area. All right. So in this case, we already have a few test roles that are set up there. If we wanted to invite someone, we could just either manually add those volunteers. This is going to, we could pull them up. In this case, we could set a recurrence for them if we want this to be more long-term. And then we could even email the volunteers just to see, hey, is this something that you'd be interested in? Again, this is coming also just from mode we're in of assign mode. I'm sorry, invite mode. But here within assign mode as well, we would just be able to add volunteers from this space. But even from tags as well, not something I mentioned earlier, but you might just have a tag to show who is interested in volunteering. That would be a way as well where you can just bring people in immediately, click on names, and populate quickly.
Perfect. Awesome. And then I also see here, um, I know I think I have a guess, but I see questions more of specific to volunteer sign up. Um, is there an option or a way to create some kind of form that people are able to just sign up with on their own versus having to assign or invite them? Or are those the two options that we have currently within Breeze?
Okay, so the question is basically like fueling interest, it sounds like.
Yes, yeah. Kind of more of a if you're interested in volunteering, sign up here.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, I would probably recommend more just going on a form route. From here, if you were to create a simple form that was basically such as, hey, are you interested in volunteering with us? It really depends on how deep you
Yeah.
want to get into this, but you could share this out. You could even get very specific with what areas someone's interested in. And from there, you could add someone, say, into a tag. Let's just view some entries. In this case, we have some names. You'd be able to either connect these to your ministry and then quickly add those people, say, into a tag. Once you have that, again, maybe that parlays more into the event where you're inviting from a tag itself.
Yep.
That's at
That's
least how I'm imagining it would make the most sense because
yeah.
that way you could also retain the data long term.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. That was what I was going to suggest, just to summarize what Lessa just shared, that it sounds like Forms is going to be the best option if you're looking for more of a gaining interest, if you'd like to be a volunteer, sign up here. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, perfect. And then I also see here, let me go back to these for a second. Unless if you
I'm
see
looking
any in
through
the
too.
yeah, if you see any that you would like to address, feel free to jump in. I just want to make sure.
I see one comment here from Rebecca as well, just using recurring events for children's check-in every Wednesday. I'd say that's probably one of the ways I see this used the most. You can
Okay.
pair a recurring event of children's check-in as an event that's always happening down, but then also be able to look at that data some more within the
Mhm.
event's attendance records. That's where, because we have attendance records, we probably have volunteers with that as well, would definitely caution. That's where that warning sign comes up if we are to change the date on that. So one of the reasons why I like to call that out.
Yeah, for sure. I also see a basic question about emailing. I know with text, I addressed this earlier with someone in the chat about there being a number of texts that you're allotted, and then there's an additional
Mhm.
charge per every text. Is that the same
Good
with
point.
emailing?
No, so you can send unlimited amount of emails, but that is a good point when it comes to text messaging. You can send up to 250 if you're well, regardless of account. You can send up to 250. Those are free. Anything above 250, you would have to opt into the unlimited SMS text feature, which then would charge at 1.9 cents per text message.
Mhm.
So basically, it allows you the ability to go above that complimentary, is what that checkbox is. Actually, I'll just show where that is in case
Yeah.
people are wondering. You would just go to your settings, manage account, and then it would be just above. Well, your ministry's profile photo is probably not my face, but it would just be that little enable unlimited text, and it has that same description there as well.
Yep.
Just
Perfect.
need to save and move on.
Awesome. And then I see a question, and I think I saw one that was similar about members texting to subscribe. And I think maybe you highlighted subscriptions with
Mm,
emails. I know I saw earlier in the chat, and maybe I'm not verbing it correctly, but I do see another in the Q&A channel about that, about
mhm.
specifically members texting to subscribe. Are you able to speak to that at all?
Yes, yeah. So if you're texting, if your account, I should say, is within the United States, you share a short form text message number across all ministries. So it'd be 87447, I believe. I might be mistaking those sevens and fours. Uh, if someone were to text start, uh, first your ministry would have to text you. You could text start to subscribe to that. You could also enroll your members as well from your side, from the admin point of view, and people as well. So uh, there will be a welcome text message that your member receives upon first text message from you as the admin. So
Mhm.
that way, your member knows where this is coming from.
Yeah, awesome. And then kind of along those same lines with opting in and out with preferences, are you able to speak to it's I see a question here that says, please clarify the opt-out preferences that appear after clicking on manage email
Mm,
preferences. So they
yes.
say they only see one option, and so how would someone opt in later is their question.
Okay. So with Breeze emailing, that's right. You cannot say unsubscribe from a certain email chain, maybe that's going out within your ministry. It's either a yes or no. I'm either unsubscribed or I'm not. So if someone were to click on manage email preferences, they would be hit. And I don't have a screenshot of this pulled up. They'd be hit with a manage preference screen. If they were to hit yes, unsubscribe, they would not receive anything. They would have to manually change that again beforehand in order to receive
Yep.
anything.
Yep. Perfect. And then also, I'll just jump back into the chat because I do see people asking specifically about kind of the merging between Tithely and Breeze. I candidly can't speak to the timeline of when everyone is going to be migrated over and when that full connection between Tithely and Breeze takes place. But I will say I'm seeing a lot of people saying we don't know how they speak to each other, and I think that's a sentiment we've heard before. And so know that our team is actively working on building resources for you guys to highlight where they talk to each other until that full merge happens. So I know again that's like the very like tech PR answer to say I don't know when the merge is happening, but the reality is we are working on building resources to at least equip you guys to understand how they currently speak to one another while they are separate. So I just want to highlight that because I see a lot of thumbs up, people saying yes, we want more information on this. So know that we're working on that, and if that does come out, that we will certainly provide you guys with those resources. So I just want to highlight that because I saw a couple of those. Several of those thumbs up in the chat. But let's see, Les, do you see any other questions within that Q&A channel? I know we got plenty, but some of them were kind of repeating questions. So do you see any in there that you think you want to highlight as well?
I do see one from Michael that I want to clarify. We were looking at forms a few minutes ago, and forms can add information to a profile. So that's just something that if we have two different profiles, if we try to connect those profiles together, Breeze would let you know, hey, the email is different. Are you sure you want to connect this form answer to a profile? Or you would just be creating a new profile from scratch. But that can also be a helpful way, Michael, to gather additional information, such as people who are interested in serving to a greater capacity, perhaps, or if they want to become part of another community group.
Yeah, good call out. I do also see a question about when texting isn't an actual phone number for the text feature, is it always that short code? Do you have clarity on that?
Yeah, it's not always. I'd say in most situations it is, just due to our database of who is here today on this call. But say if you're accessing this, at another time where time and space allows, if you are texting, if your account, I should say, is based outside the United States, then you would be sending from a full phone number as opposed to that short code.
Okay, perfect. And then I also see a question here about sign-up sheets that says, after creating a sign-up sheet and inviting people to sign up, is there a way to later add one singular volunteer and send the link to them? I guess they're saying when they create the full list, they invite everyone, they need to circle back and add one person and just send that invite to that one person. Is there a way to do that within the volunteer scheduling section?
Yeah, that would be totally fine, actually. I could go back and show you just to help it stick.
Yeah, let me pull. Yep, there we go.
Okay. Well, let's assume in this case that we've had this going for a long period of time. We could either modify roles. This allows you to bring on another volunteer if you want. This is more of a role base. I mean, let's just call this, say, an usher. We want to have ushers now in service. You could assign a role leader. You also don't have to. You could say how many volunteers are needed. So this is a way of continually adding, or you could continue to add volunteers here from an existing role, as we've already looked at. So I would say simplicity is always best. That goes along with follow-ups. That goes along with people. Anything I've showed you so far, it's really whatever works for you and your ministry. I could see how having multiple different roles is going to be pretty hard to keep up with if it's beyond, say, a handful. But if that is what makes sense for that event, then of course just keep adding as you need to. But I'd say that none of what you do here is going to impact the attendance, that warning that I was showing earlier. That is only going to be affected when you go into settings and change any of the dates and times. So not a worry. You can change volunteers right here as needed throughout, basically, is my very long-winded way of saying that.
Perfect. And then I do see someone as well asking if you can assign a group to a role. Is that possible?
Ooh, assign a group. So we're saying that, like assigning a whole tag to a role, for instance, or assigning a whole.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me.
Gotcha. I mean, we could. I mean, it would still be the same if you were to go from a tag. It's going to be the quickest way of doing that. If you didn't have a tag already created, I'd say in that situation, it'd just be easier to create a tag. That's again how I usually use Breeze is in the invite mode. But I think tags and events go really hand in hand here for that reason. Because in this case, if you were to add, you could add all the people from this. I mean, this is a preschool tag, wouldn't make sense, but you could, in theory, do that. Add, and here you go. You have a whole group immediately. So you do have to go down and click one by one. Perhaps that was more of the sentiment was, is there just a way to, specifically click on the fourth and fifth tag? You would have to, add all the names like that. But yeah, you could have as many as you want in this role. You would just need to then maybe modify what your volunteers are needed dependent on.
Yeah, awesome. Well, let me bring us back over here. I did see some more like technical questions in the Q&A channel. So I just want to make a highlight that if you did ask a technical question, such as so-and-so needs access, or this isn't working, but it seems like it should be, those are going to be best troubleshooted through our support team. So again, the best way to reach them is that chat bubble. So just want to highlight that I saw those questions, but if it's more of a diagnostic issue, then reach out to our support team and they'll be able to assist you. But as we are kind of coming to a close here, I do want to highlight again our Breeze University. So our Breeze University, of course, has like basic onboarding resources, and then it has some that's a little bit more deep dive into like more specific questions for a lot of our like super users, like the ones who are joining us today. So want to shout out Breeze University. Check it out. It's just breezeuniversity.com, or you can scan the QR code on your screen. And then as well, just to mention again to those who don't already have our all access subscription package, if you don't already have it, you can scan the QR code on the screen and that'll get you 3 months of all access at $99, which is an amazing deal. So again, go ahead and scan that QR code if you're interested. But as we wrap up here, I do want to take a moment to share with you guys a poll just for us to get kind of a scope of understanding of kind of how this was beneficial to you guys so that we can carry that into our upcoming webinars. So I'm going to take a moment here to fill that out. But while I'm doing that, Les, if you want to highlight any other questions you see in the Q&A channel, you're welcome to do that. But I'll go ahead and write out that poll really quick for us.
Yeah. Here, I'll scroll up. I'm seeing some questions on participation data across multiple events. If you are to click into an event, go to details, go to attendance, we'd be able to dig in a little bit further there on attendance data. Admittedly, I feel like Breeze displays data well for single events, but it's across multi-events where you might want to consider either exporting, running just some queries as well, say through like Google Sheets, could be something that you could do there. But you could also drill down further just into single event participation. I think that would be a good place to start.
Perfect. Awesome. So I will just give that a moment. I'm already seeing people responding to that poll, which is awesome. So keep adding your poll answers to that, and we'll make sure that that's taken into the next coming webinars. But we've gone right up to time, which I love when that happens because that means we covered a lot of ground. So I hope this was helpful to all of you. Thank you so much again, Les, for joining us, giving us all the resources we need to feel confident in Breeze. But with that, we're going to go ahead and close things out. But we thank you all again for joining us, and we hope to see you in the next one.
Have a nice day, all.
Bye, guys.